Good evening and welcome to Channel 8 Sports and East Brunswick High School football. Hi, I'm John Meggiolaro, being joined again by Phil Hill and Jim Allinder as we are ready to bring you the East Brunswick Perth Amboy game. And fellas, this could be a good one. East Brunswick comes in 4-1 rather. Perth Amboy comes in 3-1, and Perth Amboy gave Stevens all they wanted to handle.
You're right, John. Actually, Perth Amboy by all rights should have beaten J.P. Stevens. One fluke play whereby a receiver on the kickoff team let the ball fall down at the 1-yard line, whereby J.P. Stevens recovered and scored a touchdown. The final score of the game, 21-19, J.P. Stevens, but by everyone I talked to said Perth Amboy actually should have won that game.
Phil, tell us a little bit about this Perth Amboy team. We know last year they upset East Brunswick,
right,
and they've got some talent out there.
They have a lot of talent. This team is a pretty balanced team. They have a quarterback that's very cool under fire, Ray Stewart. You're going to see him in action. They got a young man named Darryl Cross. He's only 155 pounds, and he's a sophomore. But East Brunswick fans have to remember him from last year because he scored 2 touchdowns against them, ran 1 for 73 yards. Against J.P. Stevens, he ran for 168 yards last week. So Mike Salento's game plan is to run the ball. He said clearly that he has to keep the ball out of Brian Forte's hands. Right. So they're going to try to control the ball, try to get the running game going, and hope to win this game.
Okay, Jim, East Brunswick comes off a 35-20 victory over Woodbridge in a game that we did and saw 2 different teams, one the first half, one the second half. What's Borden's strategy here?
Well, before we talk about Borden's strategy, I think it's important to note that East Brunswick did go up against a team that Perth Amboy is going to be doing the same thing, running. And,
right,
and that's the whole key to East Brunswick winning tonight. They have got to stop the run. Marcus Borden says that he's going to resort to a 6-2 alignment, 6 down linemen, 2 linebackers with some variations in between. And with that, I think the Bears are going to give it their best shot in shutting down that running game, because once they do, then the offense is going to take over. And we understand that Brian Forte suffered a little bit of a groin pull in practice this week, however, is recovered enough so that it shouldn't be a problem. We will also see Don Silvoconic at right tackle, Dave Hannon at left tackle, and I believe it's going to be Dave Clark moving into the center to get a little more bulk, because Perth Amboy outweighs East Brunswick's offensive line by about 14 pounds. And that probably is something that we're going to have to watch very closely tonight. Ramon Trent is back in uniform tonight, so we should see all the East Brunswick receivers, and I suspect that Marcus Borden is probably going to be going to the air once again.
Well, if he doesn't, then we all have a story here. Anyway, it's East Brunswick and Perth Amboy, and it's homecoming tonight at J. Doyle Stadium. And we'll be back in a moment with the start of the game. All right, the teams are on the field. We've just had the singing of the national anthem, and there's electricity in the air, I must say.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. There's a lot more excitement with this game than there was last week against Woodbridge, and why not? Because it was Perth Amboy last year that really snuffed out the Bears' opportunity to qualify for the state playoffs. It was like East Brunswick was playing out the string after that Perth Amboy upset. So there's a lot of revenge factor tonight, I think, also. And you know, you don't like to place a lot of importance on one single game, but this is the beginning of a tough road ahead for East Brunswick. They've got to get past Perth Amboy in order to make the game against J.P. Stevens next week meaningful.
I think one other aspect, too, is that Perth Amboy comes in with a good record. It's not that they're, a mediocre team and, okay, revenge for last year. There's not only the revenge for last year, but there's a lot of talk going on in this county that Perth Amboy could beat East Brunswick.
Right.
That didn't happen last year. So there are 2 different elements working here to pump East Brunswick up.
Well, they better be careful. This team has 14 returners from last year, and they're just a much improved team. It just should be an excellent game. It really should.
I think it's interesting. If you look out to the center of the field, you'll see that Perth Amboy has some 10 players out there as a show of support, if you will, for the coin toss.
They're probably the seniors, John. Probably their last year, and they probably do that every game.
Well, Perth Amboy's won the toss. They'll receive. They'll be moving left to right on your screen. They're in the white visitors' jerseys. And as you know by now, East Brunswick will be in the home green.
And Phil, I thought you were going to say that's the first time East Brunswick hasn't won the toss this year.
Well, you beat me to it. So.
Well, okay. I think it's good in the sense that East Brunswick can exactly, find out exactly what they're going to do against Perth Amboy's running game, and we'll be watching that. I noticed that Ray Stewart, the quarterback, stands about 6'2", so he's got some good height, which will give him ability to throw the ball. But Phil, I think you mentioned that they don't throw the ball that much, or it didn't last week against Stevens.
They didn't. They only completed 1 of 8 against Stevens, surprisingly, and yet the game was so close. So it tells you how well they were running. But they have the ability to throw that ball. This Stewart kid can pass the ball.
Well, Josh Miller is going to tee it up to get this game underway. As we mentioned in the pregame, it's homecoming, and there's truly a great crowd out here tonight.
They're still streaming in, as they usually are, but I would expect, oh, God, I put a number on it, well over 1,000 people for this game, which I don't think we've seen for Perth Amboy in quite a long time. But we should mention, since Forte is nursing that the groin pull, that for the punting tonight, Josh Miller will be doing that when the opportunity arises. And I don't think East Brunswick's going to lose too much with Josh kicking.
All right, Perth Amboy sending their kickoff return team out. And they're going to put their premium runner, Darrell Cross, back deep. And Miller's going to get this game underway. This will be Cross at his own 2-yard line. To the outside. Cross fumbles the ball. We'll see who recovered.
Now the referee is calling it down at that point, John, which I don't think is a right call, but he's taking his fingers and pointing them down.
No, Jim, I don't think he called it down. It's just that the Perth Amboy player came in there and did recover the ball.
All right, good for them.
All right, so Cross brings it up to the 25-yard line. Let's spot it at the Perth Amboy 27, and that's where they'll start, 1st and 10.
Okay, you're going to see a split back veer offense here, and East Brunswick has seen the veer offense before, so we'll see how they handle it.
Stewart's the quarterback. He's joined in the backfield by Graham. And they snuff it out. A quick dive play to Graham.
That was Sean Smith, 75, one of the tackles.
Good start.
In on that play.
I'm sorry, I'm calling Graham. It's actually Cross. Graham is 41, Cross is 32.
Set you up defensively with East Brunswick. On the line, it's going to be, let's see, DiGiovanni, Flynn, and Hack, along with Sean Smith. And Mark Flynn will be one of the linebackers. Shannon Holcomb will also be seeing some action, and we'll pick it up after.
All right, it's 2nd and about 8 for the Perth Amboy. Stewart rolling to his left, looking, being pressured, and he's going to be sacked by number 55, John Flynn.
That's right, John Flynn, as he has been doing all year. John getting in.
I'll tell you, East Brunswick, even before the game, they were pumped up as much as we've seen them this year. So, and if you talk to Marcus Borden, he seemed to be supremely confident. So,
okay, just to finish out the lineup, Schenk, we've been calling him Senk, but it's Schenk Ugar at linebacker. Matt Miller also the linebacker. And in the backfield, Kevin Maloney, number 12, and Bill Brunig and Troy White.
All right, it's 3rd and 25 for Perth Amboy. And their running game is snuffed down once again.
Boy, Mark Rulo in on that tackle, number 17.
And Sean Smith again. Sean Smith is, he was, his first tackle was for a loss, and he's in on another tackle for a loss.
And gentlemen, as a complete series this year, I don't think East Brunswick has had a finer defensive effort.
You're right, Jimmy.
The ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 9-yard line, 4th and 27. Back for East Brunswick is Harmon and Brunig. Hubbard, number 85, will do the punting. I'm sorry, Rivera, number 33. Bad snap. He's having a little trouble. He gets it out, though. Good kick. Brunig will field the ball at around his 44 and be taken out of bounds. So East Brunswick will go on to offense first time this evening.
With great field position.
As they had against Woodbridge in the opening game, too. So let's keep a look on our eyes on Forte, understanding that he might be a little slowed down. His maneuverability might be a little limited also.
First and 10 for the Bears on the Perth Amboy 37. Trent and Giroux wide left. This is DeVito inside. DeVito will pick up 6 yards.
That was quite a hole on that right side of the line.
Hate to be redundant, but we haven't seen an East Brunswick team come out as sharp as they appear.
They're crisp. Everybody is really up for this game.
DeVito picks up 7. Let's call it 2nd and 3 for the Bears. Forte back to Brunig, right side, and Brunig's got the first down. So it appears, at least for 2 plays, they're going to work that right side of their own line, the left side of Perth Amboy's defensive line. Well,
however, John, I would not be surprised to see the pass on this first play here. Oh, they're going to measure it.
I may have been a little premature. I thought Brunig had it easily. And he's going to be short by about 6 inches. So it'll bring up a 3rd and 1 for the Bears. The ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 29-yard line. So East Brunswick enjoying good field position on this first possession. .8:45 to go in the first period. No score. East Brunswick, Perth Amboy. 3rd and 1. Forte on a quarterback keeper, and he's got the first down.
He got himself about 3-4 yards on that.
Well, they've been using that. They used it twice last week, and Brian comes out and picks up an important first down.
Well, he's not
early.
showing any ill effects of that groin pull, so maybe we can just dismiss that altogether.
The ball at the Perth Amboy 24, 1st and 10 for the Bears. Trent and Giroux again wide left. I formation. This is Brunig up the middle. Billy will pick up 3 yards.
Well, we had said passing, right, at the beginning.
Well, they found out, they're finding out they can run, and to show you what balance they have, Mark Harmon hasn't touched the ball. Of course, they've only run 5 plays, but the premier back hasn't touched the ball, so it shows you just how versatile they really are.
All right, 2nd down for the Bears. Ball at the Perth Amboy 20. Harmon right side, and Harmon's going to be dropped for a loss.
Go ahead, Phil. I know you want to talk about it.
No, definitely. Marcus Borden knows what he's doing. It's, again, it's just the thought of mine, and maybe he's saving it for J.P. Stevens.
Could be.
And, of course, we're talking about having Harmon run that same play to the wide side of the field.
So they mark Harmon back at the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 7 now for the Bears. Forte dropping back, rolling to his right, looking over the middle. He's got his man Potter. First down, East Brunswick, inside the 10-yard line.
Great catch. Good route run by Dave.
Well, we talked about it last week. The fact that East Brunswick, if you have to prepare to coach against them, they have developed so many weapons now, and it's incredible. Dave Potter coming on as an addition now. Bill Brunig, another addition.
1st and goal for the Bears from the 9-yard line. Looking to put on the first score of the evening. This is Harmon trying to cut his way up the middle. He'll get to maybe the 5. Second and goal for the Bears.
And Harmon and Brunig continuing to rotate.
This is usually Joey DeVito territory. Of course, he's such a good short yardage runner. We'll see.
2 men wide left for East Brunswick, split backfield. Here's DeVito, and he slips down, gets back to the line of scrimmage. Bring up a 3rd down for the Bears.
Well, this is another one of those situations where Marcus Borden likes to have Forte either roll out to the right or left. It looks like he'll come out to the wide side here and flood the end zone with receivers. Watch Giroux, number 18.
All right, Giroux comes out wide left, Trent goes wide right. DeVito and Harmon are in the backfield. Forte fakes. Now he's being pressured, trying to get away. He's going to be dropped for a big loss. close to the Perth Amboy 20-yard line.
Elias Taru on the tackle there, showing good speed. 5'11", 225 pounds, and he caught Brian Forte.
Okay, we ought to see a field goal here by Josh Miller. Josh is going to be kicking from his own 25, so this will be a 35-yard attempt, and this will be right in the middle of the field. And there's no wind tonight. Everything is, the leaves are standing still.
Trey White is the holder. 35-yard attempt. Josh Miller, good snap. The ball's down. Kick is up and good, and East Brunswick gets on the board. Josh Miller.
So Miller puts it through. It didn't have the height on it like we normally see, but nonetheless, it was a good, confident kick.
Well, that's just how strong Josh Miller's leg is. As you pointed out, Jimmy, it didn't get the height, but he just nailed it right through, though.
So East Brunswick goes up 3-0 with 5:20 to go here in the first period.
Phil, I think it was important that East Brunswick get something out of that drive. They had penetrated down to the 5-yard line, and of course Forte was sacked by Taru, but they got the 3 points. They're in the lead, and that's an advantage right now.
You're right, Jimmy. They had good field position from the very beginning. I think what we all were surprised about that they ran as well as they did this early on. So I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks.
All right, Cross and Graham will go back deep for Perth Amboy, joined by Albert Daly. So Josh Miller will kick it off after his 35-yard field goal. A low kick, but it's going to take Cross into the end zone, and that's where he'll have to stay. It'll come out to the 20-yard line for Perth Amboy.
That's right. In high school football, you don't have the option of running it out of the end zone. So Miller does his job by getting the Perth Amboy to have the ball on the 20-yard line.
Well, I'll be interested to see if the defense is going to be as aggressive as they were that first series, and particularly I'll be looking at Sean Smith because he's been playing out of this world this first series. So I want to see if that continues.
Stewart brings out the Panthers. That's Cross in motion. Dive play to Graham. And Graham will pick up maybe 2.
That was Shank Ugar on the tackle, I believe, and also Anthony DiGiovanni.
Let's call it 2nd and 8 for Perth Amboy. Ball on their own 22. We have 5 minutes to go here in the first period. East Brunswick's on top, 3-0. That's Graham in motion. Here's Cross on the pitch. And Cross is going to be dropped in his backfield, and a flag has been thrown.
Right, John, what happened on that play is that Flynn had busted that block. The Perth Amboy player tried to get back. There was a clip, and Flynn still made the tackle. So it was a great play by 55.
Flynn's quickness is just amazing. He was there instantly. Cross bobbled the ball, as you pointed out, and Flynn was up in his face.
And I'm wondering if East Brunswick's going to take this. It's a 15-yard penalty if they want. From that point, it seems like they ought to. But there was still a loss on that play.
And the officials will mark it off. And again, Perth Amboy moving backwards on offense. Ball is now at their own 10-yard line. So Perth Amboy facing a 2nd and 20. And so far we've not seen that potent offense of Perth Amboy. And Perth Amboy's going to call a timeout.
Well, they're a little confused right now. They're back. They got their backs to the wall. They haven't had any breathing room since at all this game. So they just can't get out of the blocks, and that's because East Brunswick's not letting them out.
John, I'd like to talk about the boys soccer team. They've been a little shortchanged, so to speak, because of the girls doing as well, and we'll talk about them later. But the East Brunswick boys soccer team is really starting to come on now. They have finally been cracked into the Star Ledger, Newark Star Ledger top 20. They're ranked number 19, I believe, in the state. They have a 10-3-1 record, and most recently they knocked off Saraville by a 6-0 score. And I believe Ed Reagan was one of the players that scored a couple of goals in that game. So the Bears, coached by Dan Hastings, are really starting to come on now that the GMC is winding down, and we'll be looking forward to see how they do in the GMC tournament. And as far as the girls are concerned, they have a 13-1 record. Their most recent win was this afternoon against Madison Central. Lisa Gagno scoring 4 more goals to bring her total to 29.
Oh,
she only needs 8 more goals to break her county scoring record.
All right, the Panthers come out of the huddle, 2nd and 20. The ball on their own 10. Stewart dropping back, pumps, looking deep. Harmon, pass was intended for Rocchio. Actually had no chance for it. Harmon had the better chance.
You're right, that was a timing pattern there, and Stewart threw it up and just did not connect. Ferraccio, you might remember, John, he was the quarterback last year for Perth Amboy once Stewart got hurt.
So the Panthers facing a 3rd and 20. The ball on their own 10. They trail 3-0 with 4:12 to go here in the first period. Ferraccio in motion. Stewart rolling to his right, looking, being pursued, chased. He's looking down deep. He's got a man open.
Ooh,
almost
mercy.
an outstanding catch. We don't know who that is, quite honestly.
I have it. It's Rich Gall, G-U-A-L, Rich Gall, if you will. Number 2 on your program. We had him listed as number 5, but he's a wideout for the Panthers. And I thought Bruning did a fairly good job of coverage on that. It was a foot race, but Billy hung tough and might have been enough to cause Gall not to catch that pass.
Well, Gale almost came up with a tremendous catch. It hit him in the hands. Brunig, however, was right on him.
All right, 4th down for the Panthers. Back in punt formation. Rivera. Harmon and Brunig are back. Better snap this time. He gets it off. A poor kick, though. Harmon will call a fair catch and take it at the Perth Amboy 33-yard line. So again, East Brunswick with good field position.
It was an intelligent move on Mark Harmon's part to allow that fair catch. And the Bears doing the job on defense again.
Right, all the game has been played in East Brunswick territory thus far.
Exactly. Perth Amboy with negative yardage in both of its 2 series.
1st and 10 for the Bears. They put Giroux out left. Trent wide right. And Forte will give it to DeVito off the right side. And DeVito will pick up a yard.
Well, we're going to have to give him 2 on that, John, but I'll tell you what, I have not seen the East Brunswick line blowing out as it has all season long.
All right, we'll call it 2nd and 8. 3:30 to go in this period. East Brunswick holding to a 3-0 lead. Ball on the Perth Amboy 32. And I think we're going to have offside. I think Trent was a little ahead of the snap count.
Ramon Trent. Trent returning from a turned ankle. Seems to be running okay.
I thought it was amazing that he was on crutches. I guess that was more preventive than anything last week. And this week he's out there and he's running rather well.
Well, Phil, he had said that he had wanted to play even against Woodbridge, but he was rested.
All right, so the penalty to move East Brunswick back to the Perth Amboy 36, 2nd and 13. Forte calling the signals. This is DeVito again, big hole. And a flag is thrown.
Well, that's usually in the area of a holding or a clip. We'll have to watch it, yeah.
Jim, we talked about last year's game before we went on camera and the number of penalties in that game. I hope we're not going to see a replay of that. The call is against East Brunswick. And so now East Brunswick starts to go in the opposite direction.
And we've talked about that much this year, that they just cannot afford to make these type of penalties against the good teams. And they're starting to getting into the time of year where they should be cleaned up.
All right, the ball moved back to East Brunswick territory now on their own 47. 2nd and 23. Forte with a deep drop. Now being pressured. He's got to get out of there. And he shovels it forward.
There goes the flag.
Is that a fumble, Phil?
He was passing to a lineman there. It was a forward pass, but he was passing to a legal receiver.
All right, so that's going to be another penalty against East Brunswick. You saw the flags fly.
Right, and that'll also be a loss of down. So the Bears are marching backwards. And I think that that Bryant's mobility is just a little bit slowed down. It's true that Perth Amboy does have quicker people all overall, but he seems to have been able to get away from that.
Well, you're right, Jimmy. He may be feeling some effects of that groin injury. It's just a discomforting injury.
Well, it's 3rd and a bunch. About 40, I guess.
Well, they have to get to the 24, John.
For the first. Harmon goes in motion. And another flag is dropped. And my sense is it's against East Brunswick once again. And it's a procedure call against the Bears.
Well, you ought to refuse this.
Well, but you got to wonder about the concentration. Sometimes you get so up for a team that you're sharp, you're up, the adrenaline's flowing and whatnot, but mentally otherwise you're not, and that can hurt you. You're too anxious. That's what I'm trying to say.
And the penalty is refused. So we will see Josh Miller.
And East Brunswick a little slow getting their punting unit out.
Right.
And you see them coming on the field with Josh Miller. The ball is spotted at the East Brunswick 30. And so Miller will try to clear it out. Cross, and I believe it's Ferraccio are back deep for Perth Amboy. Miller, good punt. They're going to let the ball roll. Cross finally trying to beat. Fumble that ball. Can he jump on it? And he does. But Perth Amboy will have it inside their own 10-yard line again.
Which is familiar territory for them. They've had their backs up against the wall all game.
Well, we will give Miller credit for a 63-yard punt with a nice roll and a mental mistake by Darrell Cross. And once again, Perth Amboy in bad field position.
And with 2 minutes to go in this period, East Brunswick holds on to a 3-0 lead. First period action here at J. Doyle Stadium. The ball is officially spotted at the Perth Amboy 8, so it's 1st and 10. Inside handoff to Cross, and that's just not working for him.
Right, Sean Smith, number 75, again in on the tackle.
And Shank Ugar.
Right. So there's some good crisp hitting, and I think that Amboy is going to find that they're not going to be able to run on East Brunswick in the middle tonight.
Well, they watched Woodbridge and they watched Madison Central run against East Brunswick, and Mike Salento clearly said, that's our game plan. I listened to him on WCTC, and he says, we are going to run on them. Talked to him earlier today, and he says, we are going to run on them.
Well, they're not running on him, Phil.
They're having a problem. You're right.
Right now. And it could be that 6-2 front, too, that's causing the problems.
2nd and 9, the ball on the Perth Amboy 9. Under a minute to go in the first period. Stewart on a little delay there to Cross. Cross might have the first down. We'll see where they spot it.
Well, that's easily Amboy's best gain today.
All right, Mark Harmon on a nice tackle, however.
And they're going to bring the chains across.
There you see Matt Miller, the captain, 46 for East Brunswick, looking at the measurement.
And Perth Amboy is going to be short. So it'll bring up a 3rd and about 1.
I think you hit the nail on the head, Jimmy. They just weren't ready for this 6-2 that Marcus Borden installed just this week, particularly for Perth Amboy's running game, and they haven't quite solved it yet. I'm sure Mike Salento will try to make some adjustments, however.
All right, let's see what the Panthers bring out. 3rd and 1, ball on their own 17. Stewart is going to try to dive for it.
And I'll tell you what, that's close. He just made it.
And they'll give it to him. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. 37 seconds to go here in the first period. They trail 3-0.
Amboy's taking his time, getting this play in.
Ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 18. Stewart puts Graham in motion. Hand off to Cross. He's got a little running room. Cross across the 30.
Oh, yeah, you weren't going to avoid that one, too.
And that'll end the first period here at East Brunswick with the Bears on top, 3-0. And while we have a moment, we'll take a look at the East Brunswick High School cheerleaders, both the varsity and the JV, who are out here tonight as part of the homecoming festivities. And of course, the ever-present EB Bear.
And John, I tell you, while we're on the cheerleaders, they're probably one of the hardest working groups that you have at East Brunswick High. They have to oftentimes do their thing twice a day, once in the morning and perhaps in the evening, and several times a week, where the other teams may do it once at the most. So they're a hard working group.
And they're coached by Debbie London. So, gentlemen, we're ready to start the next 12 minutes. East Brunswick holding on to a very slim 3-0 lead. Perth Amboy has the ball. It's 1st and 10.
Right, so they got a first down,
30.
John, on that last play.
And Cross, you saw the type of speed he has. Once he gets it cranked up, watch out. And if he gets to the outside with the step, he can go.
Well, in that last play, if Harmon didn't come up to slow him down, I think he would have been gone, Phil.
You're right.
So we'll see what the Panthers bring out to start this second period. It's a pitch to Cross, right side. Cross will be taken out at the 35-yard line by Harmon. He'll pick up 5. It'll be 2nd and 5 for the Panthers.
Well, Miller tried to penetrate on that and just was not able to catch up with that fleet sophomore.
Well, we've seen some good running backs this year.
Yes, we have.
Scapicchio at Edison, McKim last week at Woodbridge, now Cross for Perth Amboy.
And just a sophomore.
2nd and 5 for the Panthers. Ball on their own 35. Graham in motion, and we're going to have a motion against Perth Amboy.
All right, that was the right tackle for the Panthers, number 74 we have on that, Dan Byers.
Dan Byers, you're right. I tell you, that just kills coaches. They seem to about have something going, and then you get a penalty like that.
Okay, Phil has stolen my Perth Amboy program, so we're going to let him take care of those numbers.
Well, Cross gains 5 and you lose it.
Well, but I think we're going to see Frascio perhaps on a pass here.
All right, they put him wide left. He's number 6. Here's Cross in motion, and a handoff to Graham. Graham will pick up 3.
It's Flinch Hugar on the tackle. We've been calling his number an awful lot on defense.
3rd and 7 now. They like to run that type of sprint handoff.
Yeah,
Phil.
Exactly. I believe Stewart will keep it if he has the opportunity.
All right, another big 3rd down for Perth Amboy. Stewart will drop straight back. Under pressure. It's intercepted. Matt Miller. Miller's got some blocking. He needs one more block. He's going to be taken out inside the 10.
Wow, Stewart throwing right into Miller's arms. Good anticipation by Matt
Stewart looking for Frascio, number 6, and Miller never saw Miller. Miller stepped right in, picked the ball up, and picked up good yardage.
Right.
So East Brunswick with a golden opportunity to put more points on the board. They lead 3-0.
And that's the 6th interception for the East Brunswick defense this year.
All right.
First and goal for the Bears at the 10-yard line. Trent wide right. He has man-to-man coverage out there. Giroux in motion. Forte's looking. He's being pressured. He's scrambling to his right, looking for someone. He's thrown it in the far corner of the end zone.
Mercy.
Both Trent and Giroux were there.
And 3 Perth Amboy defenders as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I was glad to see Brian running much better on that sprint out there.
Well, but if he has a groin injury, Jimmy, you think perhaps he might do a little more drop-back passing rather than sprinting out.
Exactly.
And if he's going to do drop-back passing, he has to do that of the shorter variety.
Gentlemen, let me point out that Brian was chased by Ariel Curette, who's a 10th grader. He comes in at 6'3", 240 with some speed. Second down for the Bears. Second and goal. Giroux in motion. Forte back pedals. Now looking over the middle. He's got a man. Trent. Does he?
No, he
dropped it.
Yeah.
Right out of his hands.
Had his hands on it. Just couldn't hold on to it.
A nice sliding attempt, but
Ball was there.
He had position too. 3rd and 10.
John, you're talking about how young this Perth Amboy team is, with Cross being a sophomore and the big lineman you just mentioned being a sophomore. This red division next year is going to really be the tough division, because Madison Central is young, and you got Piscataway, who's going to be a member of the red division next year. So this is going to be a tough division.
Currently 4-0, Piscataway.
Okay, the Bears come out. 3rd and goal. Looking to put some points on the board. Forte still has it. Good fake. Looking. Now he's going to put it up in the corner for DeVito and over his head. So to bring up a 4th down.
Well, but I'll tell you who was open, David Potter, and Brian did not see him.
All right, so Miller back on to try another field goal. He was good on his first attempt, John, 35 yards. And this one, okay, the Bears call timeout.
That's their first of this half.
And that's the first time Marcus Borden has been on the field. Nick Spadafino went out the first time. We didn't note that. So we have quite a few changes here.
Phil, it's a good point. You know, you didn't see Dave Potter, and that's one of the disadvantages of rolling to one particular side. You limit yourself to half the field.
Well, I guess they don't want to change what they've been doing, because it's been pretty successful. But my point really is the groin injury. If it is aggravating, you don't want to do a whole lot of sprinting out. Basically, a little drop back and pop and hit your receiver. But they haven't been doing that this year, so I guess they didn't want to really change. And perhaps it's not that aggravating when he runs, but more so when he attempts to punt. I don't know.
Well, Borden is out on the field. East Brunswick has called their first time out of the half. We have 10:45 to go before halftime. East Brunswick leading 3-0. They've had the ball on the 10-yard line, and now they have a 4th and goal.
John, one thing I've noticed, that if Miller has trouble on field goals, and he was 1 for 4 coming into this game, it is when the ball is marked to the left side, and this is on the left hash mark. Well, look at this.
East Brunswick's going to go for it.
They're going to go for it. So let's dispense with that and let's watch the play.
Trent wide right. Giroux in motion. Forte will drop back, and then he'll sprint to his right. He's got some time. Looking again over the middle for Potter, out of his hands.
Well, and the spotters saw what you saw, Phil.
Well, everything worked perfectly well except for the catch itself.
Exactly.
And I guess Dave Potter is entitled to that, because he made some sensational catches last week, but this one hit him right in the hands, and he just didn't come up with it.
Right.
So Perth Amboy will take over, but again, they're on their own 10-yard line. They can't get past that point.
So Miller's interception goes for naught. But one of the positives of this is that, as you said, John, East Brunswick does have Amboy on inside its own 10-yard line.
All right, Stewart has 2 men wide left. That's Graham in motion. Hand off to Cross, and Cross will get maybe a yard.
And it looks like number
Flynn.
91. That was
Mark Flynn.
Mark Flynn.
Right.
All right. Boy, the defensive line for East Brunswick doing an outstanding job in this first half. Amboy, except for a couple of 10-yard gains, really has not found the running room.
call it 2nd and 9. The ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 11. And they are taking a lot of time, Jim, in the huddle. Graham in motion again. Pitched across, short side of the field. Cross is going to get maybe back to the line of scrimmage.
Mark Flynn again.
You can't say enough about the job that the East Brunswick defense is doing tonight. They are really penetrating real well.
Their speed, I think they're just outspeeding them.
That's the thing. And we talked about them being scrappy and whatnot, and they're getting their thing down, and they got so many weapons on defense as well.
I think Marcus has a good game plan, and let's give some credit to the scouts too.
Third now and 9 for Perth Amboy as Stewart goes into a shotgun formation. He's looking, he's on his own 1-yard line. Under pressure, he's going to be dropped at about the 3-yard line.
Host of tacklers in on that one.
Sean Smith leading the pack again. And
Shank Ugar, Matt Miller. We've been calling the same names all night, haven't we?
I know if you're the East Brunswick coaching staff, though, you got to be particularly glad to see Sean Miller come around the way he has.
All right. John, I think East Brunswick really wants to get some points from this good field position that they're going to get. That 3-0 lead's just not enough right now.
Well, Rivera's at the back of the end zone. He doesn't have much room to operate. He's going to be punting for Perth Amboy. Harmon and Brunig back deep. Just able to get it off. Harmon will take it on the run at the 30. Still on his feet. And he'll get up to the 25-yard line.
Fine run. Fine run. Harmon could have elected to do a fair catch on that, but he spun his way to the 25-yard line.
And East Brunswick with outstanding field position with 8:18 to go here in the second period.
The entire first half has been played in East Brunswick territory.
So we'll see what the Bears can do. 1st and 10 from the 25. They come out in an I formation. Trent and Drew wide right. And Forte on a quarterback keeper. There's only one man there. Forte to the 4-yard line.
Well, what can you say about that play? Everybody expecting the ball to go to Mark Harmon, and Forte just launches off.
Ball is spotted at the Perth Amboy 4, 1st and goal.
And you might want to give John Emery assist on that. Apparently they picked up something, and I'm sure he passed it down to the field, and you saw what happened.
21 yards on that carry. That's Brian's best run of the year.
All right, Drew wide left, Trent wide right. Full house backfield. Miller, DeVito, and Brunig. Here's a pitch to Brunig. They're going to power their way in. Brunig gets down to maybe the 3.
Phil, it looked like Brunig had a little room to go on the outside, but he elected to cut in.
So first time we've seen the full house backfield.
You're right, you're right.
And obviously with Matt Miller in here for his blocking.
And you know we can probably look for Mark Harmon going to the short side of the field on the pitch here. And that's to the right.
Miller stays in. They're again in that full house backfield. Harmon, the deep back. That's DeVito and Miller up front.
Oh, Brian's going to run to the left.
He's got some room, but no one out there to throw a block for him.
That was a blind bootleg, and I don't think they intended to have anyone out there, but what happened was Mark Harmon did not go to the right, which would have pulled somebody over that way. He sort of stood in the middle. I'm not sure he knew what the play was.
Well, that moves the ball back to the Perth Amboy 6-yard line. 3rd and goal. 6:34 to go before half. East Brunswick cannot get past that number 3. They lead 3-0. And Trent split way wide right. This is Brunig. Billy Brunig fights his way down to the 2.
Oh, he's right on the goal line, John. East Brunswick's going to be faced with a tough decision here.
Just a nice knifing run.
All right.
Billy stretching his arm, trying to get that ball into the end zone. And East Brunswick will call another timeout.
And good timeout by Borden to discuss strategy on this. I don't think there's any doubt that the Bears are going to go for the touchdown on this. They've had good success running the left and right side of that line, Phil.
They have.
And, well, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't try to give it to DeVito. I know he's a favorite runner. He gets those yards when there aren't any.
Well, I'll tell you, Jimmy, he's probably doing one of two things there. Going out there, first thing he's probably telling is Brian Forte, listen, if it's there, take it yourself right up the middle there, because apparently that is open. If not, then they're probably calling the play, you're right, for Joey DeVito to slash it in.
I agree, Phil. I think it's going to be a read for Forte. If he sees it, he'll take the step forward. If not, hand off to one of his backs.
Well, you think, gentlemen, though, that Mike Soleno was at Woodbridge last week. That was the play that Forte used, and I would sense that Amboy is going to be prepared for that quarterback sneak.
Well, the ball is spotted on the 1-yard line. It's 4th and 1 for the score. 6:07 to go before half. East Brunswick on top 3-0.
And that's a good yard. That's not inside the 1-yard line, so the Bears have to get that 1 yard.
Again, the full house backfield. Miller, DeVito, and Harmon. Everyone else in tight. This is Harmon. Harmon's going to be dropped short of the goal.
All right, that was a nice tackle by number 50, Louis Acevedo.
Hey, just an excellent tackle by the young man.
And he was keying on Harmon all the way.
Just an excellent tackle. You're exactly right, Jimmy.
So Perth Amboy will take over, but the ball will be on their own 1-yard line.
Well, yeah, I guess what you're keeping in mind is that they've given up 6 points down there, two by choice, two almost sure field goals to go for the touchdown, and why shouldn't they? But they didn't come up with them.
Well, I don't think you could argue against that. The odds were in East Brunswick's favor.
All right, Stewart brings them out. He's standing in his own end zone. 1st and 10, and that's, well, you really can't move him back much further.
Half the distance up to the goal, so yeah.
6 inches, they'll move him back.
Take some air out of the ball.
Well, the thing you have to watch for is if Amboy is not able to get any yardage, that punter is going to be punting with really no, it is 1st down. But, boy, I'll tell you, take a look at that ball. It's
1st down now. I tell you, Jimmy, we haven't seen it this year, but if it gets to 3rd down and they haven't gotten out past the 10, I would go with a quick kick on 3rd down to get some room, because they haven't had any room all day.
It's still 1st and 10. You couldn't move the ball anywhere, really. And this will be Cross. Cross will get up about to the 3.
Once again, you got Rulo on that, Smith and Bruneg.
So it'll be 3rd and, or 2nd down rather, I'm sorry, and about 9. Perth Amboy's been in the hole all evening on offense. 4:46 to go. Stewart with a pitch to Cross. He's got a blocker. Cuts upfield. He's got some running room, and it finally dragged down across the 30-yard line.
And that's that speed we've been talking about.
Exactly. And Amboy is out of the hole.
And a big 1st down. Ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 33.
And as I said earlier, this young man ran for 168 yards against a good J.P. Stevens team last week, so he can turn it on.
I stand corrected. It's at the 23. But it's a 1st and 10 for the Panthers. And they have some breathing room. Cross again on the pitch. Smith just misses him, but slows him down enough for the tackle at the line of scrimmage.
You hit it, John. That was all Smith needed to do, get back there. Now somebody's down for East Brunswick.
That may be Sean. No, it's Matt Miller.
Yeah, Matt Miller is down. He's getting up.
Okay, Matt Miller, a little woozy here. Phil Hostler out to look at him. So we have a timeout with 4:03 to go before halftime. And it's been a defensive struggle, quite honestly.
I think we have few unexpected things. I don't think we expected East Brunswick to play as well defensively as they have, and yet I think we expected some more scoring on their part. So a few surprises.
Are those new band uniforms we see tonight?
I think they broke them out because you were here tonight, Jim.
No, we were noticing. Well, we got to go back to the play here.
All right. 2nd and 9 for Perth Amboy. The ball at their own 24. Graham goes in motion. Again, that handoff to Cross. That quick opener. Picks up a yard.
We're going to give that to DeVito, the tackle there.
I'll tell you, it's something when you have a 155-pound sophomore that has to be your workhorse.
You're going to be watching the band at halftime. They're going to be, looks like they've got brand new uniforms. They were wearing their raincoats before the game. We were wondering why. We were not expecting rain, but now they're breaking out the new uniforms. They look real spanking clean.
And I'd have to be playing an ode to Jimmy Allinder. Ball at the 25. 3rd and 8 now for Perth Amboy as Stewart rolls to his left, looks, puts it up deep. He's looking for Cross, and just on the other side of Cross and overthrown.
Wow, this kid Stewart can throw the ball.
He can throw the ball, but again, I think Bruning did the job. He was close to his receiver, didn't let Cross get any room, and I think Billy Bruning's been doing a job on defense tonight.
Outstanding job. So Perth Amboy in another punting situation with 2:57 to go. Rivera will do the punting. And they need a big punt here.
Right. Yeah, the Bears have plenty of time to punch one over.
Harmon and Bruning are back for East Brunswick. Good snap. Just gets the kick off. Harmon will field it at his own 45. Looking for that wall is set up.
Ooh,
he's got it.
He's got it.
Harmon's got the right side. He needs a block. And he slips and trips. Oh, at the 25-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I was waiting for the official to throw a flag back there. It wasn't a clip, but I didn't catch who made that block back on around the midfield stripe. But it was the block that sprung Harmon. I'm sure Salento, the coach for Perth Amboy, is thinking it was a clip. It was close.
It was a good block, Jimmy.
Right.
Well, Harmon had the lane, but he slipped down at the Perth Amboy 24, but it's 1st and 10 for East Brunswick, and again, excellent field position, 2:28. Plenty of time for the Bears. DeVito inside. DeVito down to the 20.
Good yardage.
Elias Turu on the tackle for Perth Amboy.
Mark Harmon back in the backfield.
2nd and 6 for the Bears. They have it on the Perth Amboy 20. Inside of 2 minutes now before halftime. East Brunswick holding to a 3-0 lead. Forte pumps. Looking, being pressured now. Will roll to his left.
Well, DeVito's open.
Still looking, throws across his body. Joey DeVito makes the catch.
No.
Did he drop it?
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds.
All right. I thought he had it.
Yeah, he may have held on to the ball. We couldn't quite see it from our vantage point, but he could have been juggling the ball as he was going out of bounds.
All right, it'll bring up a 3rd and 6 for the Bears.
Brian is just not getting enough time to drop back tonight, Phil. He's resorting to rolling out every time.
Well, he's been in that situation before, Jimmy, and he's always hit his people. He's just a little off, it seems to be.
All right, Forte drops straight back. Again being pressured. Will dump it off to DeVito. DeVito's hit, but he gets away. Trying to keep his balance. DeVito fights with inside the 10.
That's enough for the first, John.
And the ironic part about it, DeVito was hit right before the ball got there, technically, which could have been an interference call. But Joey showing good balance, broke the tackle, and picked up good yardage.
So East Brunswick picks up the first down with minute 30 to go here in the 2nd period.
That's only Forte's 2nd completion of the game.
Trent will move over to the left side with Giroux. Pitch to Harmon. And Harmon's taken down right at the 10. So he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Clock is running. East Brunswick has 1 timeout left. Under a minute now.
And you have to believe, John, that they're going to save that timeout for a field goal attempt if it gets down to that.
45 seconds to go. Forte looking across the middle for Giroux. The ball's thrown low in the dirt. That'll stop the clock with 37 seconds.
That was a little underthrown. You saw Giroux cutting across the middle there, and Brian just wasn't able to drill it in.
So the ball at the Perth Amboy 10. Third down. East Brunswick can get a first down short of the goal line. Right now, that's not their concern. They need to punch it in here. They only have 37 seconds to go. They do have one timeout. Potter split wide left. Forte looking for Potter.
Ooh.
Actually for DeVito. DeVito trips. It's intercepted. That's Hubbard, number 85, and Forte will ride him out.
I'll tell you.
Out of bounds around the East Brunswick 47 with 23 seconds.
I'll tell you, to me, that's clearly interference. I don't know why it wasn't called.
Well, both feet were tripped up.
DeVito had a step on his man.
All right, and I'm keeping my eye on Brian Forte. He's coming off the field rather gingerly on that leg.
And that's only Brian's second interception of the year.
More importantly, another East Brunswick opportunity is snuffed out.
That's quite correct.
So Perth Amboy will take over with 23 seconds. The ball at their own 47.
And Brian's a little upset with what has transpired here.
Stewart from a shotgun formation. Looking. He's going to put it up over the middle. He's got a man. That's Cross. First down at the East Brunswick 25. 16 seconds remain. They'll stop the clock to move the chains. Perth Amboy has 2 timeouts remaining.
And I think they're going to call one now, John.
And they do.
Stewart is walking back to the huddle a little bit slow. Now he's starting to trot. Took a good shot there. But that was probably his best pass all evening. So I guess, John, the Bears are looking to avoid that quick score by Amboy. A lot of missed opportunities by the Bears. And you wonder if that's going to haunt them, John.
Well, it's just, you know what I'm thinking about is that the missed opportunities are things that we talked about before that you have to take. I say there were 6 sure points certainly given up down there. I think we could have probably went with giving up one of them, but certainly not 2 of them in a game as this nature. Brian Forte obviously hasn't been on this first half anyway.
Well, he's only 2 for 9 in the first half, and that being a completion to Potter.
And so that's an indication maybe you got to take what you can get. And you look around, and one mistake here. I thought there was an interference clearly there on Joey DeVito. He had to step on the man and was tripped, and interception. They got good field position, and they could conceivably go out of here with a tie at half or perhaps even ahead.
Okay, Perth Amboy, 16 seconds. They have 1 timeout remaining. The ball is on the East Brunswick 25. Stewart in a shotgun formation. The ball's over his head. Picks it up, a good bounce. He's rolling right. He's still on his feet. He gets it off. And in and out of the hands of Ferraccio, I believe.
Oh, wow.
That was a game of close calls.
I'll tell you, what a fine effort by the quarterback, Stewart. He hit his man right in the hands at the first down marker, and the young man just did not catch it.
Okay, that stops the clock with 6 seconds.
And you got to think, John and Phil, that Amboy's going to probably throw it to the end zone.
Well, I asked the Salento about his kicking game, and he says they don't have his kickers just doesn't have much range, so I don't think we're going to see.
Well, this would be, Phil, a 40-yard, 45-yard attempt.
Well, I know we won't see it.
Okay, it looks like Amboy's going to call his last time out, John.
And I tell you, looking at Perth Amboy there, you know, Jimmy, they're starting to develop football back in Perth Amboy. You remember years when they had guys like Bruce Taylor.
Oh, yes.
Boston University, Jay Zasnewski,
Right.
Notre Dame.
Exactly.
And perhaps maybe what might have been their best athlete, even though not many people know about it, Lucy Williams.
Of
That's
course.
right. If you had a name like Lucy, I guess you had to be good. But he went out to Kansas, and he was all everything. So they got football now coming back to Perth Amboy. I asked Salento about that, and he says it's just a total effort by the administration. Ray Janeski, the athletic director, and Frank Sinatra, the superintendent of school, have been totally supportive. And he feels really good about that.
Great.
The other thing in that regards is he talks about is that they've stopped specialization over in Perth Amboy. And by specialization, that's where kids would only go out for basketball or only go out for baseball or only go out for football. And now they're doing what East Brunswick players are doing. If they're good athletes, they're going out for different types of sports, and it's benefiting them.
All right, we're ready to go. 6 seconds. And that's all Perth Amboy has to work with. They have no timeouts left. They're on the East Brunswick 25. They trail 3-0. Again, Stewart in shotgun formation. He's got 3 men to the right. He's being pressured. He's going to throw a Hail Mary.
Oh.
We'll see. Everyone's pushing and shoving.
That ball was
And
caught.
East Brunswick was lucky not to have a penalty called.
It was caught but out of bounds. I'll tell you what, credit Sean Smith, 75, with putting enough pressure on Stewart that he was not able to get a good pass off. So
I thought there might be a call against Maloney, an interference call. I think he got away with something there.
that would have been a disaster.
But more importantly, East Brunswick comes away with a 3-0 halftime lead. And we're a little concerned.
Well, I think there's genuine reason to be concerned, John. East Brunswick, as Phil mentioned, some missed opportunities. Could have gotten some other points via the field goal route, but they didn't. We're not going to, that's okay. But I think the Bears are going to have to find some of their. Looks like Brian Forte's passing game is not on tonight, and they're having some good success with the running game. But still, in all, I think they're going to have to put points on the scoreboard in the second half.
And Phil, Perth Amboy's played an outstanding game.
Perth Amboy's
on
played,
defense.
considering that they've had their backs to the wall practically all the first half, they haven't done badly. I agree with Jimmy. And there are days you're not in sync. If Brian Forte is not in sync, then they have to take the points where they can get them.
Okay, so we ask that you stay tuned for our homecoming halftime show, and we'll be back in a moment with the start of the second half.
Under the direction of Vern Whitlock, and the auxiliary director, Blaine Whitcomb, The drum majors, Amy Gardella, Adam Rosenberg, and Dara Dixon. I'm proud to present to you in their brand new uniform, the East Brunswick High School Marching Band. We'd like to thank Mr. Vern Whitlock for his guidance, support, and encouragement over the last 3 years. And I would like to introduce the seniors. Flag Captain Laurie Larson. Flag Joanne Bilger. Flag Virginia Sims. Rifle Captain Beth Ann Boyko. Rifle Tina Kaplan. Drill Team Captain Jennifer Zazlowski. Drill Team Susan Kale. Drill Team Stacey Taft. Members of the marching band Barry Backenheimer. Brian Benedict. Greg Bland. Michael Hahn. Debbie Marcoux. Randy Miller. Rick O'Brodnick. Greg Rojek. Anand Subramaniam. Peter Sundak. Stephen Weissman. Stuart Weissman. Jamie Wengrove. Sean Wengrove. Suzanne Zomer. And the drum majors, Adam Rosenberg and Amy Gardella. While we're waiting for the homecoming ceremony to start, I would like to tell everyone that here at East Brunswick High School, the marching band will be holding a competition on November 7th, starting at 6 o'clock. There will be 14 bands in attendance, some of the best bands in the state of New Jersey, including our band. Thank you.
A special welcome tonight to all parents and returning EBHS alumni. Now it's time for the 1987 homecoming tour. First, I'd like to introduce this year's sophomore attendant, Melissa Burke. And escorting her is our very own East Brunswick High School band.
once again the East Brunswick High School Marching Band.
All right, so both teams are out for the start of this second half. East Brunswick on top by the score of 3-0, and a rather surprising 3, as we mentioned before. What adjustments do you make if you're Soleno, Phil?
Well, if you're Soleno, basically, I think he started getting some of his game getting together and whatnot. I think he's going to probably go a little bit more to the outside, and I think he's probably going to see a little bit more passing. He realizes that East Brunswick is set up to stop the run. So probably shorter passes and whatnot to take advantage of that.
And Jimmy, for Marcus Borden?
Well, I think Marcus has to be pleased with the performance of the defense. They have shut out a rather high-powered Perth Amboy team. However, we talked about the missed opportunities of the first half, and sometimes those things come back to haunt you. Brian Forte, as we mentioned, was only 2 for 9 in the passing department. I think that groin is bothering him a lot more than people that he would like to admit, and I think he had to make that tackle on that run back of an interception. I think that also took something out of him. We'll watch him closely. East Brunswick was only able to manage about 22 yards on the ground, and that wasn't really significant. And I think the penalties also hurt them too. That one drive was stuffed out there just by 3 consecutive penalties, and you just can't keep on doing that. I think the Bears have to cut down on their mistakes, find some way of generating more offense. Forte is going to have to find the range, hopefully, this half. And perhaps East Brunswick will be able to put a little bit more of a margin between that 3-0 lead that they have right now.
And unless my memory serves me wrong here, this will be the first time East Brunswick will receive a second half kickoff.
Exactly right, John. So we'll see what it holds for them.
All right, the Bears sending out their kickoff return team. And that'll be Harmon, DeVito, and Brunig, who will go back deep. Hubbard will probably do the kicking for Perth Amboy, number 85.
I'd say I'd be a little leery of an onside kick, Phil. This is a little bit of a surprise element here.
Well,
Amboy hasn't had any field position whatsoever except for last few seconds. And, you know.
Well, you're right, Jimmy. They haven't had any field possession
That's good enough.
for the last few seconds, but I don't think they want to start out by continuing the trend of the first half, so they better boot that ball down there and hope they can nail East Brunswick in their own territory.
Okay, and I see they've changed kickers. Number 40, and I don't know who that is on our program. We'll do the kicking off for Perth Amboy. Anyway, it's low kick on the ground. It's going to be fielded by Flynn, number 55. And Flynn powers his way up to about the 36-yard line.
Not a bad running job there.
Well, you know, it's those guys that if I ever get my hand on the ball, I'm going to run it to the nth degree. And Flynn had his opportunity. Look at it. He loves it. He's coming off the field. He touched the ball.
Okay.
All right, the Bears 1st and 10 on their own 36-yard line as we start the third period here at J. Doyle Field. Trent and Drew wide left. This will be DeVito inside. And DeVito will pick up about 4 yards.
Good hard run by the junior. And I think we have to give some credit to that offensive line tonight.
Yeah, particularly Rob Perez on that side there threw a good block.
But East Brunswick has not been able to break the long runs.
Well, let's give DeVito 5 yards and call it 2nd and 5. The ball just across the East Brunswick 40. I formation now in the backfield for the Bears. Forte will hand it off to the back man. That's Brunig. Brunig trying to get to the outside. He'll have the first down close to the 50-yard line.
Outstanding run by Bill Brunig. Probably the best one tonight for East Brunswick. Saw a little daylight to the outside and made that cut.
Well, that's the old Bill Brunig we were used to last year, and like we know since that injury, he's just coming around, and he ran well last week, and he's showing signs of it again this week.
First down for the Bears. Ball at their own 48-yard line. Here's the pitch to Harmon. He'll cut it up inside. Harmon will pick up 5.
Again, good crisp blocking by the East Brunswick line. Get some names in there for you. Dave Hannon, who's a new face to that offensive lineup, was out there, number 79. Don Sofolkanik, co-captain for East Brunswick, was out there. And number 59, Gene Kammerer, was also in.
And we should mention the good job Dave Clark's doing at center.
You're right, no turnovers.
2nd and 5 for the Bears. This is Brunig on the pitch. He's got some running room. Billy Brunig's got the first down inside Perth Amboy territory. So it looks like Marcus wants to take it right to him.
And we've almost forgotten how good Billy Brunig can be. He's, again, vintage Billy Brunig.
Right.
Ball at the Perth Amboy 39, 1st and 10. The Bears are on the move.
Haven't put it in the air yet, John.
Trent and Drew again wide left, I formation. DeVito and Harmon. This is Harmon. Off tackle. Harmon will pick up 4.
Super block there by 76, Rob Perez.
And he's done a good job today. I tell you, got to give Perth Amboy credit. Mike Salinto has to like seeing so many tacklers around the ball carrier.
Let's call it 2nd and 6. Ball at the Perth Amboy 36. Here's Brunig, big hole. First down inside the 25-yard line.
Good counter on that. Brunig waiting just a moment for that block to form.
A nice trap block, and probably most people think that the most rewarding thing that happens in a football game is a touchdown. But I tell you, as someone that did play guard at one time, when you make a nice trap block, it's a great feeling.
All right, the ball at the Perth Amboy 24, 1st and 10 for the Bears. They keep this drive alive. They trail, they're leading 3-0. Harmon and Mark will fight his way for 4 yards inside the 20.
And These are tough yards, but I'll tell you what, East Brunswick wanting to do it.
Who's all on that right side there,
ground.
Jimmy, doing that job?
Well, I think we mentioned a couple of them already. 76 is Rob Perez at right guard, and Dave Hannon, 79, is also on that side.
Ball resting just shy of the Perth Amboy 20. 2nd and 4 for the Bears. Trent wide left. Drew split to the right. Forte looking inside for the look in. He's got Trent. Trent's going to score.
Great play. Boy, you set him up with that, huh? Run it all the way down, and then that quick pop to Ramon Trent. Brian Forte's 9th touchdown on the year, and that extends his county lead. And we have a Perth Amboy player down on the field, John. It's number 66. That's Sammy Cruz.
And that's their best defensive player. That's Perth Amboy's best defensive player, Cruz.
Right. Well, they split Trent wide left. He had single coverage. It was just a quick slant in. Forte hit him right on the numbers, and Trent was able to get away from one tackler and sprint into the end zone. Puts East Brunswick up 9-0.
And a big touchdown right there, 24-yarder for Brian Forte to Ramon Trent.
And you had it quite right, Jimmy, that they really set him up nicely. They came out running, and boom.
Okay, I had that wrong. It's 19 yards on the pass play. Harmon had gotten about 4 or 5 yards on the first pop, so we'll credit Ramon with 19 yards on the reception. And I'm checking to see how many touchdown passes he has this year.
3, I believe.
Actually, just 1 this year. It was that long 84-yarder, according to the statistics from Bill Munyon. So that's his 2nd touchdown pass this season.
So Josh Miller, come on, tried to add the 10th point for East Brunswick. And East Brunswick takes this opening kickoff of the second half and drives the length of the field for the score.
I want to get the crowd revved up.
Good snap, and the kick is good. So East Brunswick extends their lead 10-0 with 7:50 to go here in the 3rd period.
And if I may be allowed, I would say that's the most authoritative extra point I've seen Josh Miller kick all year. The form was just excellent, and that could have been a field goal of about 40-something yards, Phil. Wow. It was real nice form there by Josh.
He's probably a little hungry today.
So the Bears with a little more breathing room right now. And tell you though, the observation you've made, John, is though when East Brunswick seems to have a team on the edge, they allow that team to come back. I guess we'll have to watch and see if they can shut them down on this opening series.
Well, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of cross, and I think we're going to see Stewart get into the offense a little more, running that ball.
I would think so.
Of course, the best way to stifle a run back on the kickoff is to put it in the end zone, which Miller has done once tonight.
Cross is back deep. That's the man Perth Amboy wants to field the ball, along with Daly and Graham. See if Josh Miller can put this one into the end zone. High kick. Cross is gonna feel it at the 7. He's gonna go right up the gut with it, and he's dropped short of the 25.
Right, good pass, good coverage on that.
And you know who's leading the pack? Joey DeVito down there on those specialty teams.
Right, and I think we have to give credit also to Dave Goldstein.
I take that back. It was Dave Goldstein, number 23 initially down there.
Okay.
So the Panthers will start off 1st and 10, their first possession of this second half, trailing 10-0. The ball spotted, let's call it their own 24-yard line.
John, I'd be interested to see if that East Brunswick line can continue to do the job.
Stewart still has it, and maybe he'll pick up a yard.
Well, you called it, John. You said you expect to see Stewart a little bit more in the game, and I think you're going to see him faking that handoff and keeping it a few more times.
That was Mark Rulo, 17 on the tackle. So he has been involved in the action a lot tonight, too. And the East Brunswick 6-man front really causing problems for Perth Amboy tonight.
Unexpected problems for Mike Salento. I don't think he expected it.
He just doesn't know what to do with it. I don't think he has confidence in his passing game, John.
Well, Stewart really has been under pressure every time he's set up to throw. Interestingly enough, they put Cross out wide right here, and that's who they're looking for. Stewart's looking for him down the middle. White's on him, and the ball's underthrown.
That's it. It was underthrown.
And good defensive coverage by the sophomore, Troy White.
Troy White.
Staying right with him all the way.
I think my observation is I see East Brunswick gaining confidence last week against Woodbridge, being able to shut down the Barons, and that has continued. I think they have really found the right defensive combinations. The team has a lot of confidence in each other, and they're really starting to play well together.
Well, I think I'm almost positive that Marcus Borden put more time in his game plan defensively than he did offensively this week, and it's showing.
All right, it's 3rd and 9 for Perth Amboy from their own 25. They trail 10-0. Stewart dropping straight back, being pressured. He's sacked. The ball is loose, but it will be ruled incomplete.
All right, Phil, who was it? Did you get it?
We got Mark Flynn and Sean Smith in on that tackle there.
Right, and 55, John Flynn was in on the tackle.
So we got Flynn, and Shaw.
There you go. And what more can you say about the East Brunswick defense tonight? Really shutting down Perth Amboy. Panthers really not having any room whatsoever to maneuver.
And the ball spotted now at the 15. So Rivera will be in to do the punting with 4th and 21, and a timeout is called by Perth Amboy.
Oh, and I don't think they wanted to do that. There must have been some confusion right there. And this could enable East Brunswick now to set up for one of its patented trick plays. We may see the Harmon to Bruning, or we may not see the Harmon to Bruning reverse. But certainly that success that the Bears had last week against Woodbridge probably gives Perth Amboy something to think about.
I think also, and we've talked about this before, is that if nothing else, East Brunswick is probably the best conditioned team we've seen in high school football. And so second half they truly believe belongs to them, particularly that 4th quarter.
You're right, John. And with this Perth Amboy team, they don't shuttle as many people as East Brunswick does. And that's what happened to them last week against J.P. Stevens. They just got tired, and Stevens took advantage of it. So East Brunswick should be getting stronger as the game goes on, and Perth Amboy perhaps a little weaker.
Gentlemen, real quickly, I had an opportunity to talk with a former All-State basketball player for East Brunswick last year, Greg Berliner, who is in town briefly, and I say that with most assurity because he just finished practice tonight at Lehigh University and has to be back 7 o'clock tomorrow morning for another practice, and he's really excited. He's enjoying himself up there.
That's Marcus Borden's alma mater.
That's correct.
Yeah. So Rivera will try to get the ball out from his own end. Harmon and Brunig are back deep. Snaps over his head. That's going to be a safety. So East Brunswick will get 2 more points, and more importantly, they'll get the ball on a free kick.
Right, safety for East Brunswick. Extends that lead to 12-0, John. And, you know, that's not the first time we've seen a problem with the Perth Amboy staff. You remember earlier in the first half, Stewart had a ball go over his head, yet he was able to recover and almost complete a pass. But
and we mentioned it earlier in the year, that is probably the one glaring lost art in all of high school football, which is the long snap. We haven't seen too many good long snappers this year.
Well, we didn't televise the Cherokee game, but East Brunswick had all kinds of problems in that one. And I'll tell you what, they haven't resorted to a shotgun since that game.
Well, I'm talking about opposing teams, Jimmy. Even.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen anyone that can consistently snap that long ball, and it's a lost art. I really believe it.
Now Perth Amboy has their choice. They can either punt the ball or kick it off from a tee, and they've chosen to kick it off from the tee at their own 20.
I'm not surprised.
And so after the safety, the ball's on the ground, and Flynn falls on it again. And the ball, more importantly, will be at the Perth Amboy 46-yard line. So East Brunswick is in Perth Amboy territory with 5:48 to go here in the 3rd period.
Perth Amboy really having a problem with its kicking game.
It's not a pretty game at all that Perth Amboy is playing, if the truth be known. They Mike Salento calls a timeout at a very crucial time, and more mistakes.
All right, East Brunswick sends Drew wide left, Trent wide right. I formation. This is Harmon. And Mark picks up 3.
Well, I think the fans can just watch for themselves and just see the blocking and the crisp blocking that's going on. These runners are not doing anything more than just taking the ball and just going right through the holes.
2nd and 7 for the Bears. Ball on the Perth Amboy 43. Trent and Drew are now to the left side. This will be Brunig on the pitch. He's got room, first down. Billy Brunig close to the Perth Amboy 30.
And Bruning is the leading ball carrier now for East Brunswick.
Well, he's just running well today. And again, Marcus Borden's putting 2 wide receivers to the left side and running back to the short side, and Brunig picking up good yardage.
1st and 10 for the Bears. The ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 31. Harmon finds some room down to the 25. Pickup of almost 6.
Can't say enough about the job Rob Perez is doing over there.
Right, and Borden continues to alternate Mark Harmon and Bill Bruning in that backfield. Each player getting a rest on each succeeding play.
We're down to 4:10 in the 3rd period. East Brunswick on top, 12-0. Forte looks like he's changing the play. Dropping straight back. Has some time, slips, penalty flag is thrown. They're going to say that he was down.
Ooh.
Well, he let it rip, but John's got it. Knee apparently touched the ground.
I think his hand touched the ground.
His hand touched the ground with the ball.
John, you noticed that that Forte audible at the line. Apparently he saw something. Ramon Trent must have been getting single coverage on that.
And Ramon was, in fact, did have his man beat. The slip ruined everything.
Okay, they're discussing the penalty with Perth Amboy, so obviously it's against East Brunswick. I think we're going to have a procedure call.
Oh, they're going to refuse it because East Brunswick will lose about 5 yards on this play.
No, a block.
A clip.
Clip. Refused, so East Brunswick retains possession, or really the ball will be placed where Forte went down.
Well, that's an odd call right there. 15 yards that could have been.
So it's 3rd and 16 for East Brunswick. The ball now on the Perth Amboy 36. Forte straight back. He's got time. Looking to the sideline for Giroux. Giroux's got it, but out of bounds.
Right.
Official right on it.
Nice effort by Joe Giroux, however.
Well, those are the types of things that you're working in now as you're a junior, and by the time those two are seniors, they're going to have that play down pat.
The ball would only brought him back to the original line of scrimmage, though.
So I guess we should see Josh Miller.
And Josh is out to punt. 4th and 16 for the Bears. Miller with a very high punt, short.
Takes a good bounce.
Takes a good bounce. That ball's going to roll inside the 5-yard line.
What a kick. What a kick.
Couldn't ask for anything better than that.
You betcha. That was right on the money there.
Well, that's the 2nd time Josh has done that today and got a very good roll. So
I'll tell you what, I have to say, I'm very impressed with Miller. I know he was probably down in the dumps, a little loss of confidence, but I think this game has to help him a little bit here. He had a very authoritative field goal, kicked the extra points, and just a wonderful punt. Don't forget the 63-yard punt the first time he kicked the ball.
The ball is spotted at the Perth Amboy 3-yard line. And what else can you say? 1st and 10. Here's Cross. Cross will give him a little breathing room close to the 10-yard line. Inside of 3 minutes to go in the 3rd period. East Brunswick on top, 12-0.
John, if I was Perth Amboy, I'd be a little discouraged at this point. I mean, they have had absolutely no field position all game. They're down 12-0. You know, and this is you run the ball enough, you're going to get some turnovers too.
However, they are a team that is capable of the big play, so anything can happen.
2nd and 3 for Perth Amboy. They're out to their own 10. Here's Cross to the left side. Cross has the first down. He's still on his feet, and he'll be ridden out of bounds close to his own 30-yard line.
I'll tell you, if Kevin Maloney doesn't come over,
Right.
and this young man keeps his balance, he's gone.
They mark him out at the 26, but he has a 1st and 10 for the Panthers.
So the Bears have to be wary of the pitch out to the right and left. I think Amboy wants to see what they can do on the outside.
Well, 12 points isn't a big lead either.
That's for sure.
This game is far from over. We have 2:20 to go in the 3rd period. Perth Amboy trails. A little option play here. Cross has it. Throwing back for Stewart.
They had it totally smelled out, John.
Well, I think Stewart telegraphed that play. As soon as he had his hands on the ball, he was just looking at Ray Stewart circling out of the backfield. As a matter of fact, Rulo saw that and was just trying to pick it off.
Well, they're taking a page out of the South River bag. Makowitz to Vinnie Jackson last week. Jackson to Makowitz for a
this
touchdown.
This is vintage 87 you're talking about. Okay.
I had to get it in.
Phil, are you agents for an agent for these guys, or?
I think he's proud of his team. They're looks like they're going to the playoffs this year, John.
No, they have a fine team as usual. All right. Perth Amboy comes back with a more conventional play, and that is to give the ball to Cross. Cross is still fighting on his feet, and he crosses the 35-yard line, and he may have the 1st down.
And you got to remember, this is a sophomore.
Yeah, he's a dangerous runner. He really is. Matt Miller, it looked like he had him pinned back in the backfield.
Jimmy, I would say he has about 15 carries, at least.
There's no doubt that he's like the Dennis McKim of Woodbridge.
So it's 1st and 10, the ball at the East Brunswick 38. So it hasn't been fancy, but Perth Amboy's holding on. Stewart, and he's going to be dropped by Sean Smith.
Right. There you see Sean Smith's quickness. Was able to, he's playing close to over center and just beat out the center and was on top of Stewart.
Well, not only quickness, his upper body strength, because he just threw him and sort of laid him rather gently down on the ground, considering what he could have done.
And he not only threw Stewart, but he also threw the lineman who was blocking him down. Sean has really come into his own these last 2 games.
He really has.
And as has Dave Clark, another one of those juniors. They've got size and they got strength.
Are you telling me Smith is a junior?
Yep.
Oh, yes, he is.
Oh,
He's 6'1", 250 pounds.
Down to a minute in the 3rd period. 2nd and 11 for Perth Amboy. Ball on their own 33. Stewart drops straight back, dumps it off to Cross. Cross sidesteps one tackler, still fighting, and he'll rest at about the 38-yard line.
That was individual effort there by Darryl Cross.
Really?
Again, Miller had an opportunity to nail him in the backfield, but Cross was able to get out of that tackle and actually got some yardage, positive yardage.
That's all well and good, but it seems that Cross is the only player, much like Dennis McKim last week, that the only player that they can depend on. They haven't even tried anyone else.
You get the sense, though, that Cross is going to break one. I mean, he's been close several times. Stewart drops into a shotgun formation. 1st and 10. And pressure again, and a little screen set up with Cross. He's got some blockers. He's going to the outside. 1st down, crosses midfield. He'll go out at about the 35-yard line of East Brunswick.
I'll tell you, and Mark Harmon may have been one of the few East Brunswick defenders that could have chased him out of bounds.
Actually, it was the 45-yard line of East Brunswick.
Well, this is the first legitimate drive that Amboy has been able to put together. You remember, it started on their own 3-yard line.
Well, and then that's what I was talking about before. They have the capabilities of busting one at any time.
So it'll be 1st down again for the Panthers. The ball spotted at the East Brunswick 45 with 3 seconds now in the 3rd period. Stewart on a quick dive to Graham.
Ooh.
And Graham's hit hard after about 2-yard pickup, and that'll end the third period.
Well, that's one of the few times, John, that we have seen somebody other than Darrell Cross.
So at the end of 3, it's East Brunswick 12, Perth Amboy nothing, but Perth Amboy is on the move.
So, Phil, we'll have to see if the East Brunswick defense, although it's bending, can stiffen up now. This is the first real challenge that Perth Amboy has been able to mount. And I see Shank Ugar coming off the field.
Well, Chink made that last tackle, and I think it shook him up a little bit.
Well, it looks like a little bit of an equipment problem. He's too tough of a linebacker to let anything hurt him.
As we look at Marcus Borden out there on the field, it's a great night for homecoming.
Oh, it really is.
Awful lot of people here, and Jay Doyle Field is really filled out. John, Doyle, did you have the opportunity to know him?
Yeah, Jay was the athletic director at East Brunswick when I was there. A very interesting man, very dedicated to the kids, really started this East Brunswick program, this athletic program, took it from scratch from day one. Very quiet individual, and but had a very big part in what we're seeing here today. And I know that we had the opportunity to bring Charlie King in at this moment. He would agree with us. And Charlie's done a fine job following in his footsteps. Interesting story about Jay while we have an equipment change. He was the head wrestling coach as well as the athletic director. And one of the few people I've ever seen at a wrestling match never show 1 ounce of emotion, whether his man was winning or losing. Always had that same stoic face. All right, we're ready for the last 12 minutes here at Jay Doyle Field. Stewart pumps. He's got his man, and it's ruled incomplete. He couldn't hang on to it.
Right, and that almost bounced into the hands of Troy White.
Cross had it, but appeared to take a step before he actually had possession.
Well, I think East Brunswick has a very simple mission here. Wherever Darrell Cross is lined up, I think they ought to put about 3 men on him.
Well, but I was thinking the same thing. 95% of the Perth Amboy's plays have been all around Cross.
It's 3rd and 9 for Perth Amboy. The ball on the East Brunswick 43, and I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more of Ferraccio. He has good speed, and they haven't gotten the ball to him, really.
You're right, John.
And Rich Gale, another one.
Well, we'll see what Stewart calls. 3rd and 9. Big down for them if they want to keep this drive alive. Graham goes in motion. Stewart's dropping, looking. He's being pressured. They're coming after him, and he's forced to get rid of it.
DiGiovanni on that, causing the errant pass. Stewart took it right in the back, and a big play right there. It brings up a 4th down, John.
Boy, you can't say enough about this East Brunswick defense. They were primed for tonight's game, and they're just playing outstanding.
Super aggressiveness.
Penetrating every time Stewart has tried to pass tonight. He has always been hampered by an East Brunswick player in his face.
Boy, I was just thinking it'd be frightening with this defense the way they're playing tonight, and if that offense were clicking, this game could have been over in the first period.
That's correct.
Anyway, Rivera is on the punt. Harmon and Brunig back deep, and we'll see if he gets the snap this time. He's got it. Gets off the kick. It's a good kick. Brunig will field it at around his 11. Drops the ball, and we'll see who has it.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
This is going to be close.
Yeah, that's a referee's decision there.
They each have a corner of the ball, I believe. And they rule Perth Amboy. Ball went through Brunig's hands, and number 2, that's Gale.
Number 2 taking it away from number 2.
Fell on it.
Right, he was down there first.
Ball at the 9-yard line. Perth Amboy catches a big break. 1st and goal.
So the Bears are going to be called on to do what they did before, stop that Perth Amboy offense. You can be sure that Darrell Cross, 32, and Ray Stewart are going to be involved in this.
All right, Perth Amboy now comes out. Their best opportunity of the night. This is Cross. Who else? And there's going to be a block behind a clip, actually, in the backfield against DeVito. So that'll bring that ball back, and there's that penalty to come up and haunt you.
Right. East Brunswick was well prepared for that, by the way. They knew that the ball was going to go to Cross, either on an outside flare, and well, that's a very untimely penalty for Perth Amboy.
Salento has to be shaking his head.
They've just never gotten in gear tonight.
Well, they've been able to mount a little bit of a drive this last time. They started from their 3 and got to the 40 before it was stalled. And I guess that's one of the problems when you have poor field position. You have to, move up and down the field. Mistakes do occur. And now this penalty here is going to set them back. And again, the penalty is marked off from the point of the foul, which was behind the backfield. So it was a first and goal, was it not, John? They're going to have to get in the end zone?
They moved from the 9. The ball is now spotted at the East Brunswick, let's count it off, say 28-yard line. So it's 1st and 29 for the Panthers. Stewart's going to throw, fakes it, he's got a man open. Great defensive play by Harmon. Mark Harmon reading that beautifully.
Outstanding.
Looking for Ferraccio.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go on the line and talk about Mark Harmon as a defensive player. It was always my contention, Phil, that Kenny Jackson of South River fame, and of course now he's in the National Football League, would have been a better defensive player because of his speed and quickness. I know a lot of people didn't agree with that. I would tell you that Mark Harmon is showing me so much defensively. He has the same type of reaction skills that he could do well defensively.
I think you're right.
He's got the talent, no doubt about it. 2nd and 29 for the Panthers. Stewart again. Over the middle, he's got his man, Hubbard. Hubbard, the big tight end. He drops the ball, and Maloney's got it for East Brunswick.
That would have been short of the first down, but still in all, East Brunswick does not have to be concerned about whether Stewart's going to throw it in the end zone on the next play. They get the turnover.
Kevin Maloney took that right out of the air. Once the young man got tackled, it popped loose, and Kevin Maloney picked it up in midair and picked.
So an opportunity for Perth Amboy is snuffed out by that tough East Brunswick defense. They'll take over with 10:50 to go, 4th period, and a 12-0 lead. Ball on their own 25. This is Harmon, spins his way close to the 30.
It's 5 hard yards for Mark Harmon. And he does not have a lot of total yards tonight, but he's been consistent. He's been hitting 3, 5, 3, 5 again, 7 yards one time, and doing the job. And the Bears electing to go on the ground this half.
Let's call it 2nd and 5, the ball at the East Brunswick 29. Brunig gets to the outside and then is dropped. He'll pick up 2. Looked like he had more running room than he actually did.
I'll tell you what, with under 10 minutes to go, if I was East Brunswick and if I'm having success with this ground game, I would take as much time as I possibly could with each play. Now the referee has just signaled the start of the down, and East Brunswick has 25 seconds to get that play off.
3rd and 4 for the Bears. They send Drew and Trent wide right. Pitch to Harmon. Harmon's going to be dropped for a loss. So it'll bring up 4th down, and Josh Miller will come out to punt.
Hilton Hubbard for Perth Amboy, 6'1", 195. An excellent tackle on that play.
So we'll see if Josh can get off one of those super kicks.
I was going to say, I think East Brunswick would be pleased just to get the ball out of danger right now and allow their defense to go to work again.
Ferraccio back deep for Perth Amboy. Let's see if they go after Miller. Here they come. Miller gets it off. It's a good kick. Ball hits on the Perth Amboy 40. Ferraccio picks it up at his 28 and is dropped by DeVito.
Joe DeVito showing his outstanding athletic ability, getting down there on that. And he is consistently down on every punt return. He's down on the kickoffs. The punt returner for Perth Amboy tried to elude DeVito, but Joey got it. I'd like to also mention that was a nice snap by 55. Is Mark Flynn? 55?
Right.
Right. He's been doing the snapping, and he's been doing some nice snapping, centering tonight.
All right, so Perth Amboy, the ball on their own 29. 1st and 10. They've got to get something going here. Stewart dropping back. Pressure thrown down the middle for Hubbard.
Ooh.
Oh, and almost there was Ferraccio. He came out of nowhere.
He really did. Perth Amboy almost connected on that, but again, Stewart had pressure on him.
Really?
That was DeGiovanni coming in.
Pass intended for Hubbard, I believe, and Ferraccio came through.
Came out of nowhere.
I think if he put his hands up, he would have had it, quite honestly. He almost overran it.
And with the score 12-0, John and Phil, I think Perth Amboy cannot afford now to go to its running game. I think they're going to see the ball in the air a lot more.
They have to.
Well, they need 2 scores. Second and 10 for Perth Amboy. Stewart will put it up in the air, getting pressure, and he's going to be dropped.
Shank Ugar.
Oh.
Well, I think the game ball ought to go to the defense and the offensive lines tonight. They have both done an outstanding job. What can you say? They're shutting out Perth Amboy at this point with, what, less than 8 minutes to go in the game. We knew it would be a close contest, gentlemen, but I'll tell you what, I think I'm really impressed with East Brunswick's line play tonight.
You know, I'm a little surprised at that Perth Amboy offense. It seems every pass play they have is a long pass play. Nothing quick, short to just get that ball out and, you know, to cross or whatever and use his talents.
You're right, John, considering they haven't done much.
3rd and 22 from their own 20. Stewart looking. There's Ferraccio. And he'll get a couple yards past the original line of scrimmage, so it'll bring up a 4th down for the Panthers. Clock is stopped at 7:25, and now they'll start it up. Apparently, he did not get out of bounds.
And you would have to think that Perth Amboy is going to go for it now. Needing 2 scores, and on a 4th down.
It'll be 4th and 8.
Well, I guess they're going to kick.
Now they have Rivera in there. He's going to punt. All right, East Brunswick gets their team out. Oh, it's a fake. This is Cross. Cross is going to be short of the 1st down, and East Brunswick will take over.
That's close, John.
Well, we're going to have to look at the films to confirm this, but I thought East Brunswick had 12 men on the field that play, but we won't say anything if you don't.
1st down for the Bears. And a score of any kind, I think it would just about do it. Ball spotted at the Perth Amboy 40. I formation, pitch, Harmon, and Harmon's going to be dropped for a loss and a flag. I think we're going to have that crackback block. Perez is down, I believe. Is that for 76?
But I'm wondering what the penalty is. That was a late flag.
Louis Acevedo making a good tackle, however, for Perth Amboy.
It is blocking from behind or below the waist. A clip, if you will.
Too many of them have been called.
That'll move East Brunswick back into their own territory.
And you hate to see that. We've been talking about what a job Rob Perez has been doing today. He's just played an excellent game.
Right.
And we just hope he's okay.
Exactly.
Well, while we have a moment, I must say what an outstanding crowd came tonight for this homecoming game.
And there ought to be a bigger one next week, John.
Yeah, we should talk a little bit about that, and that's the Stevens game coming up.
Yeah, I think with East Brunswick comfortably ahead 12-0, we're going to put this in the win column. I might speak too soon. You never know. But let's assume that the Bears, well, they're going to be on offense shortly. But J.P. Stevens has a game against Cedar Ridge tonight, and assuming that they win, that'll set up another showdown for the conference championship.
All right, East Brunswick. It'll be 2nd and 30. The ball on their own 41. Trent wide right, Drew wide left. Forte drops. It's got that little screen to Trent. Unfortunately, he's got no one out here to help him.
Well, Ramon stepped back about 4 yards on that play.
Well, Ramon was trying to use his speed there. Ramon's become very effective at catching the bomb now, and he's going to learn about these other things here. The short passes and the footwork and stuff, he was covered well, however.
So he actually got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. So it's 3rd and 30. Little counter move inside with DeVito. Ooh, that's a late hit there.
Sure is. And that's a 15-yard penalty, and I don't believe it's an automatic first down. So I think the Bears are still going to have a, what is it, a 3rd down now, John?
Alan Prasad making a bad mistake at this point in time of the game.
Well, the ball is now moved into Perth Amboy territory at the Perth Amboy 38. Personal foul. And they're calling 2nd down.
And the clock's moving, and the Bears are right on top of the ball.
2nd and 9, 5:40 to go in the game. Forte is going to pass. He's got some time. He's thrown deep in the end zone for Trent. Just out of his hands.
Oh, wow.
Trent slipping on the wet turf, just couldn't maintain his footing to hold on to the ball.
A tremendous pass by Brian Forte and a very good effort by Ramon Trent.
Right, he was looking for it all on that shot. Boy, such speed that Ramon Trent has. He was there before that ball was even coming down.
So it'll be 3rd and 9 for the Bears. Ball at the Perth Amboy 39.
I think it's Potter time.
Harmon. And Harmon will pick up maybe a yard.
And Amboy was ready for that.
And we're going to see Josh Miller, obviously, the punt.
Obviously.
Yeah, he'd have a tee, Phil, if he wasn't out there to punt, if he was going for the field goal. So he'll be looking to do the same job he did before, and that's plant Perth Amboy deep in its own area, in its part of the field.
What they call it is pooching it. So Josh up in the air, fine punt. They're going to let it bounce.
Look at this.
Ooh.
At the 2-yard line, and who's there but DeVito to put it down?
And what more can you say about the East Brunswick kicking game tonight?
That's what you call a pooch.
Right. I don't think East Brunswick can play a more perfect game in terms of field position tonight.
No, they can't. And I tell you, they're going to give Cross a complex about letting the ball go. Of course, last week against J.P. Stevens, he was the one that let the kickoff roll down to the 1. And there, this was an honest judgment, and the ball just dropped.
Well, Perth Amboy at their own 3, 1st and 10 with 4:32 to go. Here's Cross. And he'll pick up maybe a yard after running about 40.
Right, I was watching that play being strung out by the East Brunswick defense. Mark Harmon was not going to have anything of it as far as Cross getting outside on him. He was there to make one of the tackles.
But I tell you, while it's a yard gain, you got to like the gait on Cross for sophomore. I mean, he's trying to follow his blockers to see if he could turn up something. A younger back would have just plowed in there.
Oh, he has a good presence out there. He knows what he's doing. 2nd and 8 for Perth Amboy on their 5. 3:50 to go in the game, and they trail 12-0. And they have been totally shut down by this East Brunswick defense. Stewart, a little quick look into Hubbard, the tight end, 1st down. Almost an old jump pass, Phil.
You're right. You got to wonder where Hubbard's been for the entire game.
You know, we haven't been keeping too many statistics on the Perth Amboy offense, passing-wise, but I can't remember too many passes being completed tonight by them.
So the 1st down will move the ball out to the 16-yard line for Perth Amboy, but they have a long way to go, trailing by 12 points, and only 3:20 to go on the clock. And there's going to be movement against Perth Amboy. That was Hubbard who took a step before the snap. So again, a penalty comes up to bite Perth Amboy. You recall they had the ball on the 9-yard line after the fumble by Brunig, and penalties moved them back to a point where they were at the East Brunswick 40, starting from the 9. And like you said, Phil, you get beat by a team, that's one thing, but when you create those kind of penalties, that drives the coach wild.
It really does.
So it's 1st and 15. Ball now at the Perth Amboy 16-yard line. Stewart throws it up. It's caught by Cross, and he's out close to the 45-yard line, 1st down.
Right, Troy White tripped himself up on that play, and unfortunately, Harmon was able to come back and make that tackle.
Cross making a good adjustment himself in order to catch the ball.
And Perth Amboy is getting down in a point where they're going to have to start hustling up onto that ball and calling plays at the line. They're down to 2:45 and a timeout. East Brunswick.
By the way, that was Bill Brunig. That was on the on that play that went down. He looks like he got a little turf in his helmet.
Well, Perth Amboy has 2 timeouts. They trail by 12, and they only have 2:45 on the clock. Other than that, things are looking up.
Yes, they are.
East Brunswick's in the driver's seats. Marcus Borden is out there right now, and he's making sure that they don't get bit by the big play. He wants them to play him fairly close, but not so tight that they're going to get burnt. He's making sure the linemen are certainly going to be putting pressure on Stewart, because Stewart is going to be passing the ball.
One thing I'd like to say, John and Phil, is that East Brunswick, if anything, this year has shown a tenacity to be able to take what the other team gives them. You know, against Edison, they decided to run on the Eagles, and that was enough to do it. Yet they saw an opening for the passing game against Woodbridge, and Brian Forte had 289 yards passing last week. Here they have resorted to the run with a lot of good success and relied on a good defense tonight to do the job.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Panthers. Ball on their own 45. Stewart throws back to Ferraccio, who's going to throw it down for Hubbard. Hubbard can't catch up to it, and it was close. I thought they were going to call a flag on Harmon.
I'll tell you, Mike Salento is incensed. If you can see him on the sidelines, he thinks that interference was involved there. He was beside himself.
So a lot of energy for nothing. 2nd and 10. Clock down to 2:39. And I can't think of a better way to celebrate a homecoming with a possible shutout. The Bears on top, 12-0.
Well, he's got to be looking for a Ferraccio.
Stewart looking over the middle. Overthrows Graham.
And give credit to Mark Rulo, number 17, for getting in on Stewart. Stewart has been harassed all night.
He's going to be seeing green jerseys in his sleep. 3rd and 10. And this is 2 down territory. I mean, they don't have any options left. They've got to score, go for 2 points, onside kick to get the ball back. I mean, everyone knows that if they want to get back in the game.
This is a key play for Perth Amboy now.
Oh, and there's that penalty that will bite you. Number 45,
and these
Dalton jumps offside.
John, these are the mental mistakes that has haunted Perth Amboy through the years. If there was anything that has kept them from really becoming a good quality team, it's been those mistakes.
You're
and
right.
Again, we're seeing them tonight.
Well, Mike Salento probably just swallowed some of that snuff he has pouched in that bottom lip there.
2:28 to go. It's 3rd and 15 at the East Brunswick 40. Stewart rolls, throwing deep, looking for Gall.
Ooh.
And good defense by Troy White, staying right with him, man to man.
That's the sophomore, Troy White, showing good speed.
And Troy is the starting quarterback for the JV team.
Right.
So he'll be playing again Monday.
Well, you got to like how Marcus Borden is starting to blend in some of these even younger players with this very young team here.
Phil, it was 3rd and 15, and you call a play where the quarterback's trying to throw the ball 45 yards.
Well, they got to go for it all, and they got to score quick, I guess they feel, because they have to get 2 scores. So strategy's out the window.
Well, here's a 4th and 15. They need the first, if nothing else. A little screen across. And look at this young man fight his way. He's way short of it, but broke 1 tackle.
Right, Dave Goldstein, 23, was the one that broke that play up. Was able to get a hold of Cross. And now let's see if we're going to, okay, Brian Forte trots on the field. I thought that Mark Borden would give him a rest. But apparently the Bears may want to get 1 more score in.
They still don't want to turn it over at this time. That's the point, Jim.
Right.
Clock is running, 2:10 to go in the game. East Brunswick on top, 12-0 here in the 4th period. Harmon looking for somewhere to go, and he'll fall forward for a yard. Perth Amboy has 2 timeouts remaining. And we're under 2 minutes, so you may see them take one very soon.
And I think if someone would have told Mike Salento that his defensive team would have held East Brunswick to 12 points, he would have been thinking that he had a sure enough victory.
That's
Correct.
a good point, Phil. You're right. Forte. Whoa, he throws that ball. Brunick gets it. Whoa.
Okay, you've heard me speak about that before.
Yeah. Yeah, Phil, Brian's going to take a look at that one in the films and say, oh my gosh, why did I do that?
Well, you just don't pitch the ball
Right.
in this type of situation.
75, Ariel Curret for Perth Amboy. If he looked up, he would have had the ball in a touchdown. It went right over his head. Clock down to 1:02. Here's Harmon. First down, I believe.
It's close.
It's all academic. Down to 46 seconds. Timeout. Perth Amboy. They have 1 remaining, but again with 45 seconds. And they mark Harmon short of the first down, so it'll be a 4th and 1. And then Borden will come out once again.
Well, and we said he's got to be pleased. I'm sure he expected a lot more offensively, but I know he put in an awful lot of time on his defensive scheme, and his defensive scheme has worked to the T. It being homecoming, I know he wants to show some of those offensive skills that they have, but Perth Amboy did have something to do with it, and he's just got to be happy with the victory at this point.
And I think also important to mention is that now J.P. Stevens, which probably has some scouts here tonight, has something more to think about. I think they came into this game thinking that they too could run against East Brunswick. They knew that Perth Amboy was going to try it. And the fact that East Brunswick has been able to shut down Perth Amboy's, or at least contain the big player like 32, Darrell Cross, has to make them rethink. They have a good player in Tim Bradley, a nice running back. And I think they're going to have to reevaluate their thinking a little bit.
All right, 4th and 1 for the Bears. They'll go for it. 45 seconds left in the game.
And a big hole over the center there for Brian Forte.
And this will be DeVito, and he's got the first down at the 30-yard line. Clock is running.
And we'll see if Amboy calls timeout. I think they've given up the ship, John. Well, we got a couple minutes here. I'll give you the rushing totals for East Brunswick. They've pretty much done it on the ground tonight. 39 yards for Mark Harmon so far.
It's really been the defense tonight, Jim. 20 seconds. Forte will go down to a knee.
Okay, and that'll be it.
I want to see him hit that knee and get up. I don't want someone rolling into him.
That's what happened last time. He loses both ways against
Perth Amboy calls a timeout, by the way. Their last.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you were saying, Phil.
But if he gets up and he stoops down behind the line, the oncoming team won't see him and won't think the play is over, and it can cause a lot of confusion. So he may be better off just being down there.
I don't know, Phil. You've got that backfield judge. He sees that knee, he blows that whistle. You get up and run back, but I've seen too many people get run over that way.
Well, I'll tell you what I was thinking. I know if another ball is thrown, you got to remember with the GMC rule, if you happen to get put out of a game, even at this late juncture and whatnot, you cannot play the next game. And
that's right. They got to be thinking about that.
You just don't want to see something like that happen. But
more on the final stats. Joe DeVito finishes with 23 yards. Brian Forte on largely that run of 21 yards, 36 yards, and Bill Bruning is the rushing leader, 57 yards tonight.
Okay, the last 14 seconds will be counted off, and East Brunswick will come away with a shutout. And I don't know when their last shutout was, quite honestly. Do you know, Jim?
The East Brunswick shutout? You caught me off guard, John. I can't say as though I do.
Well, anyway, there's no finer way to have a homecoming than to shut out your opponent, and East Brunswick's done that against Perth Amboy here, 12-0.
A real fine all-around victory for the offense and the defense tonight. I'm sure Marcus Borden is going to be throwing the accolades around John and Phil about that offensive defensive line. The linebackers played a great game tonight, and I think you also have to give credit for the defensive backs not allowing any major catastrophe to occur. I think the Bears had an excellent kicking game tonight too by Josh Miller on the punts. He was able to come through on the extra points, and that 35-yard field goal was also a good, nice addition.
Well, I'll tell you too who deserves a lot of credit. We mentioned it partly, and that's Marcus Borden, but his staff. I mean, they put together a defense, geared to shut down Perth Amboy, and it did just that.
Exactly.
More importantly, the players responded to that defense. That 6-2 worked. Cross really wasn't a factor in this game, and East Brunswick comes away with that shutout. So
right.
What can you say? I mean, I think part of it was they outcoached Perth Amboy.
They certainly did. Marcus, when they talked to him earlier, just smiling about his defensive scheme, and he changed the whole defense around for this particular game, and it worked. They shut him out.
Right.
Offensively, I think he's surprised that they weren't sharper than they were.
Yeah. Jimmy?
Well, my thoughts are going to J.P. Stevens right now. I think it's the game that everybody is waiting for. East Brunswick with a 5-1 record now. J.P. Stevens, if it wins tonight, is going to be 5-0, and it'll have a large bearing, as we mentioned, on the red division of the GMC, and the victor will definitely emerge as a primary contender for the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs. Not that East Brunswick, if it loses, is going to be out of it, but it's going to be a tough road for them. So they're primed for it. We know that J.P. Stevens is always the #1 rival. We've had so many great games over the years, and it's going to be here next week. It's going to be exciting.
And that's a great lead-in for me to say that we will be here next week, East Brunswick, J.P. Stevens. But tonight, it was all East Brunswick as they shut out Perth Amboy 12-0 to improve their record to 5-1. So for Phil Hill and Jim Allinder, I'm John Meggiolaro saying thanks for being with us.